Well, today we're going to show you guys how to do a bit of a car wash after a big trip. A couple of tips and trips. Today's video is all about washing a four-wheel drive after a big, muddy, or even a beach trip. So why do I come to a car wash? Now, number one, I don't like to leave mud, sand, particular weeds, any little critters. I like to wash them off before I get home. So quick tip, guys, head down to your local place. Today we're here at the North Lakes Car Wash, which is just my local one, getting it all done. You could go home and do it, but then you're gonna have all those problems at home, which is, I just want to get the sink off the car. My second, third, and fourth wash, because yes, sometimes you're gonna wash a lot of the mud, is often done at home or even at work. So quick tip, get into a local car wash, get rid of the headaches, but at the same time, what I want to say is fresh water ASAP. So often I'll be on the beach, or I have to do a river crossing, or I have something that's not really palatable, like a lot of mud at Glasshouse. I often find a freshwater creek, just go back and forth. I want my wheels, my brakes, and I want to get a lot of the mud underneath ASAP off the car, just to improve the safety of the drive home. If I can't do that, I do recommend straight away getting some fresh water on that, getting all that, the mud, the salt, everything off your car as quick as possible. So in Tassie, there's a lot of tannin in the mud. A lot of places around Australia you get that. And what happens is the radiators and intercoolers get full of that mud and the tannin. You can't wash it out. Easy, you can get stone in your wheels. So a creek crossing, sometimes just forward and back can really clear that up. All right, so whenever I go to a car wash or at home, always bring my tyre brush, chamois, some dirty rags because there's a lot of mud and grot. There's a couple of different ones you can use. This is the one a lot softer. There's microfibers, bucket, don't bring them here. And I don't bring this hose, but this is what I bring at home all the time. 100% I use that every time I wash my car from the mud. A towel just to throw on the ground so I don't get dirty. A little bit of degreaser for the engine bay. Not in a car wash, but definitely at home, just a cheap brand I use. Or Tyre Shine. This is what I use at home. I wouldn't use this at a car wash because they got one themselves. This is a truck wash instead of using a degreaser. Alright, so obviously you got your tyre, engine bay cleaner. It's a bit like a degreaser. Put it on, you leave it for about a couple of minutes just to soak in. Now don't go and blast that off, that's always a problem. Get to your pre-soak. That would get the whole car underneath and on top, really soaking. Then don't just blast it off, get into your soaps. That way you're actually applying a high pressure soap because you don't want to start scrubbing the side of the car with mud and stuff. Inside that mud is tiny particles of rock which will scratch your car. So doing these layers properly will actually prepare your vehicle for the wash, the hand wash part. So you get your foam brush and then you got high pressure rinse. That's what most of us jump straight into. I don't ever do it. I want my degrease done. So here, I'm not going to do my waxes because we're going to show you guys what I do at the office. We're going to do another video of full detail on what we do for vinyl, painted, and ceramic coated cars because we've got a few cars. But basically, if you're at home, guys, get your degreaser underneath. Don't just blast it straight away. Let the degreaser sit not too long. I use a truck wash at the home, that CT18, a really good product. But if you leave it too long, it can do damage. So put it on, wash it off. From there, I often put I do the foaming and I foam underneath, and again, just eats into it, and then you hit it with the pressure at home. But here, I've got the advantage of going through all their products. So that's where to jump into. It's gonna get messy, so bring spare clothes and definitely bring a towel. And last tip before you get into it, start bottom up. Do not wash the top because then it gets wetter down below. Wash underneath because then you're a little bit drier, a little bit less messy, and yeah, normally it gets quite messy around me, so let's get into it. Alright guys, safety first, sunny's on. If you've got some big fancy goggles, even a welding helmet, if you want a Spartan helmet, go for it, but degreaser's not good for you. A lot of times you can wear other products, but at the car wash, you just got to get into it because they charge you by the hour. But at home, same problem. You've got to get it in, so you really got to get diligent and spray it on everything, and then you let it sit for a while. Now you don't want to be dawdling because you don't want the first part to be sitting there for half an hour and the last part to be sitting there for a minute. So you're going to get really into it. This is probably your most physically active part. This is probably good because I'm not very physically active. engine bay. At the car wash, they've got it pretty diluted, so it's not going to be too much damage. But I always do the engine bay kind of last. It will strip components if you leave it too long. If you're mixing this at home and you go too thick, it can do some real quick damage. So car wash is generally pretty good. I do this last because the first thing I'm going to do now is head over to the next stage. Yep. At the car wash, I always make sure I spray out whatever was on before. But this is the pre-wash soap, so this is going to get on top of that component, give it a clean, and just again break down the compounds of the mud, which is sticking due to moisture. But it's been there for a few days, so it's been a bit slack. So we'll get back into it just, again real quick. Now while I'm at it, this is kind of a little bit of a video for all the beginners. So guys, leave your comments below if you're a bit more of an expert than me. I'm not afraid, I've got big shoulders. Tell me what I've done wrong if you think so. But at the end of the day, you want to get straight into this as soon as possible. Go through the stages at a car wash or at home, just stage it out. But at the same time, if you've got a couple of tips that I don't know about, just place to share it, get it done. Obviously did the degrease first, then you've done the next pre-soaking. This is like a power soap, so yes, this part can go all over the car. The first part you kind of eat the mud in the engine bay, degreasing it. This is the first high pressure. This is the first time you hit the rest of the car. But already I can see a big difference. The other products really eat into it. When you're hitting an engine bay with high pressure, you don't want to knock over your intercooler, your radiator fins, so be really mindful. Careful of your 12 volt. So there's sensitive things, you've got to kind of hit it with pressure. It is a soap, but you don't want to force the water into things it shouldn't be in. So high pressure fins, expensive mistake for radiator. So currently we've done the degrease, we've done the pre-soak, and then a high pressure soap. At home, a lot of us don't have a high pressure soap setup. You do have on your gurneys. It's a really good way to just eat it off. Don't just hit it with a power wash because you've got to break down the molecules. So the steps here, bang, bang, bang. Now onto the soapy wash. You've got to get it off. So foamy soap, good stuff. I do bring a bit of a rag so I can spot check. I do bring my half decent one if I want to get on the roof, I can't reach it. Sometimes guys don't like the bristles. My car's a bit worn, but if you don't like the bristles, sometimes your own soap and this will get it done at home. But a car wash, out of respect, can use their product. Guys at home, at the car wash, you don't have to be quite as aggressive as me and get right underneath it and have a lot of fun, but spare pair of clothes, an extra couple of towels are going to change your day. But at the end of the day, how I wash my car is number one, fresh water ASAP. Next thing I like to do is get to a car wash if I can, because I don't want the mud, the salt, and I don't want the bugs, I don't want the weed on my lawn. Get it here. When I'm here, I actually do a full process. This costs me like 15 bucks. Dairy clean. I can tell you the pressure on it alone won't do it. So if you're doing this at home, you can have a few extra washes. But last but not least, make sure when you leave here, if you come here, respect the peace, clean up your mess, don't be a bunch of pigs. I know some of you are pigs, just clean it up before you go. Anyway, it's time to hit the road, get changed for sure. Oh, I love washing my car. I prefer not washing my car.